ManCave Conversations Season 4. Yeah! Well, you've been with us night after night. We do this every year in the month of September. My birthday is September 8th, and this has been for the past 4 years the way that I say thank you to all of you by bringing you with me into the Man Cave. My name is Dr. Cheryll Holmes. I am a psychologist and family therapist in private practice right now, located in New York. That might change real soon, but that's where we are right now. We want to also tell you about our life coaching certification that is happening. The life coaching is happening the first Saturday in September 4th. We have life coaching certification that's happening. And if you miss September 4th, just still let us know. There's some other dates that we have for 2021. So you may be hearing this and the date has already passed, but another date is coming. And we also want to tell you about our counseling certification for those of you who are pastoring and counseling, or you may be a relationship coach. We want to put a tool in your hand that is going to make this so much easier. Maybe you've been to seminary and you've learned about counseling, but I want to give you and share with you some of the things that come up with me as in being in private practice. And we want to give you a tool that will help you measure the health of the relationship even before meeting the client. Give them the opportunity to do the assessment. After the assessment is completed, you get a chance to see the health of the relationship, looking at communication, conflict resolution, family background, whether they're compatible or not. A really great tool. And this is something that we have partnered with another company, and you can do this and you list it on their website as whatever town, state, city that you're in. It's really, really, really amazing. Who we have who's hanging out with us in the Man Cave. Let's see who we have. We have CJ. CJ was with us last year, I think. CJ, what's new? What's happening? You look like you're chilling.
Yes, ma'am. I'm chilling at my fiance's house. So that's what's new.
Listen, and he said fiance. He has moved up from the single life to fiance. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. What part of the U.S. are you?
H-Town, Houston, Texas.
Oh, Texas. All right. Okay, good. How long have you been engaged?
16, 17.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. We'll be back with you to get to some more of that. Maybe you have some information to tell some women how they can become fiancés and wives, but we'll be right back with you. Okay. We also have the bishop, although he doesn't put it in his title. The bishop. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. Doing great.
What's been happening with you? Any changes since last we spoke?
No, we're still pushing along. Since this pandemic, we haven't been in the building, so we're trying to find our way with online ministry for now.
How's that going?
It's going pretty slow because this online ministry is really, honestly, is not my thing. But sometimes it don't have to be your thing to be your thing, you know. So,
right.
So I'm kind of doing it reluctantly.
Okay, marital status.
I'm single.
Ladies, he's single. So CJ is not, don't be in his inbox, but Bishop is single. He may have some requirements, but he is single. All right, Bishop, we'll be right back with you. We also have Joel. Joel, tell us
Hey,
a little bit about what's going on with you.
well, I'm here in the beautiful island of Trinidad and Tobago. No, we got a little rain going on, so I'm inside, just chilling with my fiance also.
Oh, look at I just chilling with my fiance also. Your fiance up. How long have you been engaged?
It's going on about 2 years now.
Okay, we need to talk to you about that. I want to know what you're waiting for because Jesus gonna come soon.
Hmm.
We we're gonna talk about that. Good to have you back, and we'll be right back with you. Okay, and we have Curtis. Curtis has been with us recently. Curtis, what's going on? We know that you're in Trinidad and Tobago. We know that you're married. What else don't we know?
Hi, Doc. Always a pleasure to be here back in the man cave. Look forward to it. Um, we're going good. We, as you know, last time I told you we were looking at some real estate development. We are currently in building our first building, so we're looking forward to good things.
Nice, nice. So let's just begin this conversation. I think I have everybody here, and today, we and some of the previous shows we heard that the men sharpen each other. So maybe that would be something that happens here that you guys sharpen each other. So we the the overriding theme for this year is why are you still single? So before we go into any of the other stuff, and we are going to ask those questions to the people who are still single. I want to go to Joel first, and then we'll go to Richard because CJ and Curtis, you guys are on that place. Well, Joel, let me just get all into your business. Why such a long engagement? Hopefully, your fiance is not hearing you talk. And I was not trying to get you
Well,
into trouble.
honestly, my situation was a bit unique. Um, and a bit painful, as you know, I was going through a very bitter divorce, as we discussed before.
Uh-huh.
That kind of played a significant role in my lengthy engagement process. But I'm trusting God that everything is going to be worked out the way He wants it to.
Okay. All right. We're gonna let you go. So, Richard, I'm not even gonna call you Bishop right now. What's the scoop though? Why are you still single?
Well, first of all, by choice. By choice. I feel like
Hold on a second. When a man said by choice, it means he has options, but he's not taking those options. Is that I'm in the man cave. I'm here to learn. Is that what a man means?
I date, but it's by choice. I don't think that I'm just based on what I went through and things that I've gone through. I don't think that my mind is in marriage, is in the state of being married. So or being in that type of relationship. So that would be the reason why.
But that's
Plus,
that's
in addition-
interesting. Go ahead.
In addition to that, it seemed like you meet women and they're so antsy to get married. And so it's like they want the ring, they want the wedding, but they're not concerned about the marriage.
Ooh. All right. They want the ring, they want the bridesmaid, they want the okay. Uh-huh. I'm seeing the head nodding. Y'all know don't be in ManCave Conversation by your girl's house. Because you're gonna be getting in trouble. Don't be blaming me. Don't blame me. So is this something that you guys are really seeing? I know some of you are married and in relationships, but do you find that most women are just in for the ring, the day, the wedding? Talk about somebody else, not yourself, right? Joel, I see you wanted to talk, but talk about other men in the man cave that is in that situation, not you.
Wow. Well, goes both ways, I guess some women, they want that ring. They're not seeing looking too much into the future, and then there are others who, yeah, they look at that married life and that's what they want, and that's what they will focus on, trying to make it work even after the wedding. After the wedding is when marriage really starts.
And do women change? Guys, those of you who have been married before, do you feel like women change after the wedding day?
Yes, most definitely. But I think it goes both ways. I don't want to just say women change and men don't change. I feel like again, this is my experience, that they are wonderful catchers. They get you, but it's the keeping you. And so they change just different aspects of, and I've been married not just once, twice. So
okay.
So I can see the change in both men. I sort of change in myself. You get comfortable, and the things you used to do to date her, you don't do it no more. And the things she used to do to make you smile, she don't do no more. So I think it goes both ways.
What are you doing now differently to make the third the charm, the last?
What I'm doing now,
I'm prophesying that you're getting married again. So I'm saying.
Well, we holding all prophecies to ourselves today. Well, you know what I'm doing. You know what I'm dealing with me, right? Because a lot of times we like to point the finger, and they was messed up, but you was part of that relationship, and so I'm dealing with me, my issues, the things about Richard that's maybe not so welcoming, that simply need to change, because a lot of times we become our parents. But the truth is, my father, I don't think a woman would want to marry him if he was my age today, because he's just a different kind of guy,
Okay.
And so just self-evaluation.
What is one thing that you've seen that you can, and this is putting you on the spot, one thing that you've seen that you may have done not so right in previous relationship, but now you say, and this is a Richard thing, that I don't want to carry this particular thing into another relationship?
I can tell you the one thing that I have is that I got a short patience, and I can tell you that that's probably an issue, and that's one of the things that I've got to work on. How to take my time and not expect everybody else to be on the same page as you. Just because you on this page now, you got to give them the same amount of time to get on that page that you took to get on that page. And so, that's one of the things, patience,
that's
dealing
good.
with people and dealing with people gracefully.
Mm-hmm. Okay. CJ, what are you bringing to this new relationship? What are you dumping? Not bringing. What are you dumping from that you're not bringing in there? The new relationship.
So I would say my assertiveness. So one thing that assertiveness.
Oh, okay.
So one thing that I gave up eventually when we talk about changing, when I was first, because I was previously married. I've been 3 years divorced. And looking back, I looked and said, instead of blaming her for some of the issues, I was like, I gave that up. I changed to try to accommodate her and ended up hurting both of us because I ended up being a little bit more passive than when we first met because I was trying to get the nookie as many times as possible, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Right?
All right, be honest. So we love honest in this platform.
Right. And so eventually I'm mad at myself because I'm not standing up like I should or like I want to. And she's actually mad because I'm not doing that. And then we start separating a little more. And so then when I recognized it, it was too late. So now it's like in my new relationship, you're going to get exactly who CJ Randolph is. And from there, if you accept that, then let's go. Because other than that, I'm not going to be a shell of myself like I used to be. Because that hurts both of us and that hurts our kids. So.
All right. Joel, what are you not bringing into this relationship?
Taking things personally.
Okay, explain that a little bit.
Before, I would say that things would get to be really easy, especially like words and stuff, comments. You know, God has been dealing with me with that in particular. You know, learning to focus on Him, on being faithfully and what He made, you know, and not on things that I would even perceive that were real that would, you know. Um, Another thing that I wouldn't take is my trust is here. And I had a lot of trust issues from past relationships and being hurt and stuff like that. Taking that baggage, you had to leave all that baggage at the door.
Do you think that in this relationship, the change that you're making is the change that you would have made if you were not going into another relationship?
Yeah, I believe so because it is about me, about my upliftment, my self building, you know, and even if I wasn't with another relationship, yeah, I'm trying to see about myself, trying to change positively, trying to change about make us better.
Okay. So now I want to go in. I gave you guys a nice preamble. I want to kind of delve in to find out some of the really the behind the scenes thing with men. Now, I'm prefacing this by saying, do not speak about yourself if you're not comfortable. Talk about men generally, so that you do not get into trouble. What is one of the biggest mistakes that you think you've made in a relationship? I'm going to come to all of you, starting with Curtis. The biggest mistake that you've made in a relationship. Do not give me the surface, something that I can just know. I want the tea. I want the sauce. I want the, I want to kind of know that men go through stuff.
Okay. I have realized that over the course of my marriage, I've realized that the loud fights that we have, and if anybody remember when they were married, there are some loud fights, and the loud fights are actually more helpful than the silent ones. And I think that early on in my marriage, I guess most men, we really don't like this loud conflict. When I'm saying loud, not necessarily in volume, but I mean the ones that we verbalize. All right, so that these are better than the silent one because we try to avoid conflict by not saying anything or not responding. And oftentimes these are the conflicts that continue even though it is not expressed, it is still there, it is still very present. And what happens is that you can only have a loud, drag out fight for a very short time. You're going to get physically tired, you're going to stop, you're going to say, well, you know what, let me see what I can do. But then in this present, it is verbalized. The silent issues that we do not express, these can go on for weeks, sometimes for months. And these are the things that continually has separated me from my wife. And I think that I've learned to verbalize these feelings and not be afraid or ashamed to express it because it is actually going to help in the long run rather than keeping it inside and saying, just for peace sake, as we say, and peace never comes because it eats you inside. So the ones that we verbalize, and I think that I have done that um, over the course of the years for too long. And so learning that it's okay to verbalize it, you just need to have an open communication.
So do men the storage place for incidents and issues seem to be large for the woman. She keeps things there for a long time. Is the storage just as large for a man? Would a man keep things inside and just respond to?
No, we can't actually. We have a limit, and if we have kept it inside too long, it just explodes. So it's either we express it and forget it. There was some infomercial, you just set it and forget it. So either we express it and we forget it, or it eats us up. And we don't have that unlimited space.
Storage.
Yeah, we don't have that you women do. We can't remember a fight that was last week, right? But well, some women, not my wife, some women can remember a fight like 15 years ago, and they remember everything that you said. But men can't do that, man. If we have expressed it, more likely than not, we are going to forget it.
Okay. All right. Someone else? Anyone else? The biggest mistake you've made in a relationship? CJ.
I would have to say, well, other than Kurt's really kind of putting it with aspect of the transparency and being honest, I would have to say trying to be the financial golden knight in shining armor, and not necessarily translating that quality time or different love languages, stuff like that. Like, yeah, just because you provide doesn't excuse you from loving your wife. Like,
That's so good. That's so
yes,
good.
So yes, going to work, which we live in a time where if you want a decent type of lifestyle, both of y'all are probably going to be at work. So now, if you want to weigh each other, which side, what are you as a man? Are you offering to your wife or to your girl? Well, to your wife, because we're going to speak it into existence, because this is what we're about, right? And so, yes, one thing that I tried so hard to find a balance in working to provide to where my wife didn't have to work. But then there is no balance because all I'm doing is working. And so then I'm coming home and I'm tired. She wants affection and I'm drained. And then I give her affection and it's kind of half energy affection. And I'm like, babe, I just got finished working all these hours. And now it's just you get into that mundane of work, come home, maybe eat, maybe have a little bit of, nookie, and then go to sleep and then hit repeat, and then eventually that gets boring. And it's like, well, I'm trying to provide, and then if you have a family, then you want to upgrade, you want to do all the different things, and it's like, well, hold on. There was a point where I was like, I'm trying to raise my boys. I don't want you to raise my boys. I want us to raise our boys. And so if I'm working, all they see me, for many years, they never saw me sleep, because I was up before them and I was asleep before them. And I didn't take naps because I was too busy trying to provide, being a father, being a husband. And eventually you just wear yourself out. And I didn't communicate that. And I was trying so hard to be the perfect husband and perfect father that at the end of the day, I was drained because I wasn't feeding into myself. And eventually she wasn't necessarily feeding into me. So I'm just empty. Okay. So if you running on empty, then you have, if the bowl is empty, there's no food, then why do you keep coming to a dry well?
Yeah. That's good. That's good, because that's where a lot of relationship, you get the money, you get the car you want, the house you want, you have all of that, and then you end up divorced because there was no time to connect. Richard, biggest mistake in relationship?
someone sort of spoke about it already, but my biggest mistake is not a lack of communication, but it's how I communicated. A lot of times, especially when when I get upset, I don't know how to not just let it come out my mouth. There's no filter, and so you realize that even though you might love this person, the way that you talk to them, in a way that you tell them things about themselves, you actually hurting them. And so I would stop. So instead of saying how I felt, because I didn't know how to say it without sounding mean, I would hold it in. And like the other gentleman said, I would hold it in. And then by the time I let it out, I'm ready to explode now. And now I'm coming across as the crazy guy. Something is wrong with me. You got a hot temper and all that kind of stuff. So that's something else that I got to continue to work on, how to speak, because a lot of times, people confuse, for me personally, people confuse the preacher with the man. And when your feelings, emotional feelings and stuff are involved, things can go from 0 to 100 real quick, because we're not talking about, a church service. We're talking about my feelings, my heart.
Yeah.
And so so sometimes when they say some people they love hard. And so when I'm not understanding, it just comes out my mouth, and I don't know if that's the New York in me. I don't know what it is. It just come out. And sometimes it don't always come out the best way. There's a right way to say things to people and they receive it. You can say the right thing the wrong way and they don't hear what you're saying. So that's one of the worst things I think I've done.
Okay, that's good. I know the women are just enjoying this because now, they're hearing the man share and they feel that they're the only ones who've done wrong things in the relationship. Joel, what would be the biggest mistake you made in a relationship?
I think my expectations, and because of my expectations, I ended up trying to change somebody into somebody that they were not. Knowing fully well that, hey, this is the person. Why would you want to change that person? And sometimes we are guilty of this. We expect change. We expect that, okay, my wife didn't know Christ at the time she came to know him. We expect certain things to happen. She's not going to be this way anymore. And when we really need to seek to change ourselves, besides wanting to change other people, we had to change ourselves for the positive, that was something that I was guilty of. And it led to a bitter end.
Okay, we're still praying with you through that. I'm gonna throw this out at you guys, and I am going to get a lot of negative feedback, I guess, from the comments, and it's just something. I'm glad there's no church anyone can throw me out of, or business they can throw me out of, and I live in my own home. So there's something that there's so many things that we can say that people should do, and I'm very challenged with should do. I think it's the one most unnecessary phrase ever, because once you're talking about you should not have, it means something is done. It's already done, and we're expending all this energy and saying, well, you should have known better. You should have. Okay, all of that being said, what do we do now? So there's some things that a Christian couple should do, but they're not doing. I want us to talk a little bit about how to survive the single life without having sex. Is it still practical to expect the couple to abstain from sex? Now, again, we know, let's put it there clear. The Bible says sex before marriage is a sin, right? And that's what we should, see that word should be doing. But what's happening seems to be something else. Yes, CJ?
So that's exactly where me and my fiance are. So is it possible? It's 100% possible. And thank the Lord, we have 57 days until we're married.
And that right there, what you did, listen, is what happened to me as well. Because the reason I want us to talk about that is because people think I'm saved and this is not, I'm not going to be tempted in here. And sometimes the Bible says with every temptation, there's a way of escape. And sometimes you can't find a way of escape because you're not looking for the way of escape. But I remember doing that countdown, and even the day before, I was just like, y'all don't celebrate yet until I actually get to the day. So that I think not understanding the vulnerability of the whole situation really leaves us open to it, because you're not marrying somebody that you're not sexually attracted to.
Correct.
Hopefully. Hopefully, and that chemistry should be very, very strong. And so I know, again, I did the reason you were at 57. I was counting down, and I say thank God I made it to that day. But it's not the easiest thing.
Not one bit. And go ahead. Oh, someone else about that. So with my experience, that was one of the first things that I told her. Like, we are not doing this. And that was one thing. She was like, oh, you do exist. And she was on the same page. And Richard, I was kind of dating, and that was one of the first things that I said. Let's just get this out there. I'm being transparent. I'm not trying to be physical, blah, blah. Girls would say that, and then they try, and I'm like, didn't you hear what I said? Like, no. And so they just kind of walked themselves out. And so it is tough. The funny thing is, so the last 3 years of my marriage was a sexless marriage. And
so you kind of got training for.
In a way, yes. But then my brother was like, and I'm like, all right, I'm good. Like, I haven't had sex in 3 years, and I was married. And then my brother's like, but what happens when they want to have sex with you? And I'm like, oh. I didn't even think that, but like you said, in some way I was trained to abstain, no matter what.
So I'm getting into your business. Was that lack of sex in the relationship your choice or hers? Your ex-wife?
It was definitely not my choice.
Okay. No, because there's some men who just like, I don't like you, I don't want to be with you sexually.
No. I was married, and I believe scripturally it stays it very clear what a husband and wife should do.
Okay.
But yeah, and so fast forward to this relationship now. Hopefully, we fast forward to 56 days faster than usual. It was a blessing to do that, but is it? Oh, it is 100% absolutely temptation and difficult. But when you are with someone that is on the same page, and that is strong when you're weak, and when she's weak, you're strong, and when you're both weak, you just say, I can't come over. Then you know that your obedience at the end of the day, even though it doesn't really seem that fun right now, it's going to be 15 times later when it is under God's provision.
Other guys, it's difficult. It is. A lot of people, we fall down but we get up. That's kind of weird here. And some people just throw themselves down.
Right.
Can't get up. is it a struggle, and how is the Christian community? This is not something that's spoken about, but do you guys know anybody who's struggling in that particular area? Because it's so prevalent. It's not just the man who wants it; it's the woman who wants to give it, and who understands. Like, it might just be, I want this. I'm horny now. Take care of me. No strings attached.
Yeah,
Well,
Doc, I think it's important that we understand that the race must have a time frame. I think that if you know that you are in
Okay.
a 800-meter race, then you pace yourself accordingly. But when you don't know the time frame, if I get ready for 800-meter race and then you told me I have to run a marathon, then I would wonder if I have enough stamina to continue. But I have prepared, as TJ did, for 57 meters, and that's all I'm prepared to go. I'm not going to run an 800. But if it is that you start, I think it's important that you have a clear time frame in mind that you know you can hold out. If it is that you are uncertain and the time frame just keeps getting longer and longer, and nobody is there to say, hey, probably this is too long. When are we actually going to do this? I think you get yourself in more trouble
So
in that regard.
are people in probably in Trinidad and Tobago, people, I don't, you may not know definitively, but are people with, lasting the prescribed amount of time?
Uh, yes, what people have done is to shorten the race.
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, that's a practical solution. You're not gonna say, okay, we're gonna be there for 5 years, and we're just gonna hope that the Lord keeps us. No, we're gonna say, okay, we are adults, we are stable enough to know how to make this work. We're gonna be engaged for 3 months. We're gonna say 6 months, as the case might be, but we know, hey, this is what we are prepared to do. And
So
I
the
think,
marriage, the better to marry than to burn still is relevant here. And again, I'm not trying to denounce scripture. I really want us to walk through it.
mhm.
Is this something that better to marry than to burn is a good place for someone to be in
Yeah, I
now?
think it
I don't
is.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
so.
practical.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Bishop. I'll call you Bishop now.
Well, see,
Go
the
ahead,
Bible.
Richard.
So we know that sex outside of marriage is wrong. We established that. But then we also got established. So here's what the word says. But then where's reality? The reality is I have brothers here that says they're going to keep themselves till they get married. That's wonderful. But what about the brother that can't? He loved the Lord. He's struggling. And so now he decides that the Bible says it's better to marry than to burn. And because of that scripture, we got so many divorces in the church because we married the wrong person because we wanted to have sex. And so now I think that we've got to step back from it. I used to have a singles ministry called Single and Saved. And I told them that it's better to marry than to burn. I said to marry to avoid burning, I think is not a good enough reason to get married. We're talking about married to somebody a lifetime. And sex, yeah, you know, you kind of uh, your hormones are jumping all over the place. And what happens after the honeymoon phase of marriage is over? Now you married to this person for the rest of your life. So I'm not condoning people having sex before marriage. But what I'm saying is for those that try and they fall, we're not going to demonize you. We're not going to punish you. We're not going to kick you out the church. We're not going to say you're not saved. What we're going to say is get back up and try it again.
Okay. Okay. So the married, what are the other beliefs on married? It's better to marry than to burn.
So I would say I don't agree with that actually. I'm kind of like with you, Richard. Now there's balance in between there, and that's where it comes with understanding who you are and who they are and being healed. All right. So and I'm speaking from my own personal experience. So I've always said I date to court, court to engage, engage to marry. So if I'm at that engaged part, I already say I want to marry you. To me, and luckily to my fiance, it was like, well, why wait a year or something like that? Our own personal, right? So then once we got engaged, she didn't know that I was going to propose. More people thought, to be honest, a lot of people thought we were already married. We just keep it a secret. And I was like, no. Like, to be honest, I'm going to tell you how long. Our wedding day is October 24th. That was the day that I said howdy to her for the first time. So we're getting married in a year. Now, some people may think it's because of the sexual aspect. No, it's not. It's not. We got engaged and it was like, well, why are we going to wait? Well, let's go ahead and figure out a date. If you want to get married in the fall. That was just the reason why we're doing it so soon. It's more just she wanted to be married in the fall and didn't want to wait a year and a half. Really. And so I feel like my first marriage, that may have been the issue where we did move the wedding date up because we was burning. and in retrospect, would that have changed anything? I don't know. But if you're basing it off of a physical thing, is that physicality is gonna be there the whole time? Like Richard's kind of saying, no, there's so much more to marriage than sex. That should be the cherry on top and the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg underneath is what you need to uncover.
Yeah, and good sex. I mean, even if you're having good sex, 24 hours in a day, good sex. Let's say an hour, 2 hours. What happens to the next 22 hours if you have to live with this person who you got married to because you didn't want to burn? So the burning is satisfied, and then what? What do we do? So, any other thoughts on married? It's better to marry than to burn.
Well, I think, Doc, I don't think that it is a question of get married or burn. I think that what you're saying is that it is better if you cannot continue to get married. But I don't think that you're saying that you should get married for sex. I don't think that's what the scripture meant. You shouldn't get married for sex, but because there are so many other things involved in a relationship before you even can consider that that whole aspect of because sex falls off, declines pretty quickly after you're married. The frequency and the intensity and all of that, it falls off over time. And so you need to then have relationships with this person. As you said, you had 1 hour of fantastic sex and then you go down. And then what are you left with? The same person that you were initially attracted to. So if you were initially only attracted to sex, then for 23 hours of your day, you are in a very bad place. But if you are attracted to the person, right, you still have a relationship with this person that you genuinely like being around.
What do we tell the brother sister who is and these are I'm not talking about young people who may not, I don't even know if those people exist right now. I'm being very honest, people who don't have sex, but I'm talking about people who have experience and love and sex and they're in this space of singleness. They don't want to make that mistake again and just get married just to satisfy that. How do they go through this period of drought?
I can tell you what.
Okay, go ahead, Richard.
I can tell you that I remember trying to do all of the stuff that we say in church. When you're feeling it, pray, read your Bible,
cold showers.
I'm telling you that does not work. What works is discipline. There's no way around it. Discipline is is the only thing that works. And that's what I try to teach, that discipline. But everybody don't have the same level of discipline, right? And so then you're going to see, because I can tell you personally, I would hate to say this, and I'm going to get in trouble, but it's probably like 90% of the single people in church, including, taking care of business. It's just whether it's a secret, and sometimes the secret gets out and things of that nature. And that's where we have all these scandals. But just knowing the church, not many people keeping that, we're not going to have sex until we marry. And those that do it, I applaud them. But that's just not reality. So do we accept what the reality is, or do we continue to push this? And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I grew up in the church, and I've seen so many people get married in less than 60 days. And 5 months later, it's over. I've seen it on Facebook that, we having a kingdom marriage. They changing their name on Facebook. And then 60 days later, they go back to their maiden name because it didn't work. Why do we continue to do this just to have sex? If you got to have sex and you know that person, you dealing with a man that ain't got no job, but you physically attracted to him, then these are the things that you got to ask yourself. Can I live with this person? That's why, one of the things that, one of the reasons why we don't have sex before marriage is so that you get to know them, because sex will kind of put some blinders on you. Yeah. And there's some things about her that you would accept because, man, we go in the bedroom and it becomes a circus in that bad boy. But then if you take sex out of the equation, you really chew this loud all the time. You really got a nasty attitude. You take sex out of the equation, you get to see that person for who they really are. And so I think I understand that, we're human. We want to have sex because, that's the way God kind of wired us. But at the same time, you want to get to know that person. And I think once you see it that way and you develop some sort of discipline, then you can do it. If not, it's going to be one of them things you struggle with.
Ladies, welcome back to season 2 of She Shed with Dr. Cheryll Holmes. We are going deeper and deeper this season, exposing myths, telling the truth, and getting to the heart of the matter. So we look forward to seeing you this season, October 4th through October 15th. Pull up a chair, grab your boo, and let's get down and do the do.
The woman who is struggling, and she is with a man, and they have sex, they're having sex, it's a sexual relationship. In her mind, this is going to be her husband. Is it the same? Is the man thinking at that moment when he is, sowing his wild oats, or just gratifying the desire? Is he thinking, I'm going to make this person my wife? Or is it the same, do you think, for men and women, what sex is in the relationship?
I think that men who are interested in female and he see himself marrying her, and should they succumb to temptation, that would be part of his justification. He'd think, we're getting married anyway. I love her. We get married anyway, so it ain't gonna hurt doing it this one time. I think in that regards, men think that way. But I think that if I don't see you as my wife, I think if a man don't see you as his wife, but he might be attracted to you, then that's just about all it is. It's an attraction. And ain't no future in it. And when the woman comes back and say, well, I thought we was going to be together. And the guy be like, I never told you we was going to be together. Mm-hmm. I never said those words, And so I think for men, we know how to separate love and sex. And for some of us, if we're not into that woman like that, it's just sex.
Even if you say it during the sexual act?
That I'm going to make you my wife?
No, yeah, that I love you, all of that. Can she take what is said during that time and hold it against you in the court of, I don't know, private opinion?
Well, I don't know who do stuff like that, but if you do say it, there's some pillow talk. You got to get over it. You can't hold on to pillow talk like that. I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I got something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's gonna get juicy after this one. All right. So
Okay.
your previous question: what do we tell brothers that are going through the struggle? I believe, and this is what I did. C.J. Randolph, Carl Jermaine Randolph, master bait. How did I sustain? I did fall down twice. Okay, so let's clarify that. There were times, and this is being 100% true. There were times that I was like, oh, man, I may give me a prostitute, because there's no strings attached. Here's my money, you got it. And when I started getting to that point, I was like, all right, I have to do something different. And so I just handle it myself whenever it got to that pressure.
Handle it, right?
I'm keeping it real, and still to this point, like my fiance knows, I'm like, listen, give me about a couple minutes, I'll call you back, right? and it's still that discipline, Richard, that you're talking about. My discipline with that was no phones are in the room. I ain't watching no porn. I'm trying to be as pure as possible. And us men know we're visible, but we don't need it to get what we need to get to, right? And so it's purely out of, let me just get this angst off of me, because we all know when it builds up, you be ready to punch a wall or something like that. So
I appreciate your honesty. Before I even come, because I was going to ask that. It's on my list to ask. What's the thoughts? Listen, if you guys get in trouble, blame it on me. Me and CJ. Yeah, no thoughts on masturbation as the lesser of the two evils?
Well, if you put it that way, the lesser of two evils will. Well, yeah, we know what we're supposed to do, what we're not supposed to do, but like Bishop was saying, what is the reality that we are facing today, And to be honest, a lot of men might find that route, that way of masturbation to be helpful. Plain devil's advocate, I don't want to,
But does the devil need an advocate in here? And I'm going to put on my pastoral hat, which I don't put on very often. The Bible does not speak about masturbation. I get into trouble all the time, and people just don't want to hear. Now, I understand and I believe that we have an intelligent God. Intelligent to the point where he decides he's going to save the woman at the well. I don't want to know her name. I don't think y'all need to know her name. But then he'll come and he'll say specifically Mary, not Martha, Elizabeth. What he wanted to put in there is in there. And I don't think he has a communication problem. So sometimes people say, well, you have to take this scripture and add it onto this one here and then that one there, and then it's going to make sense. I don't see it. I haven't seen it. Maybe other people have seen it. I don't see it. Thou shalt not.
Well, that's one of those sins that the church made up. The things that, because it's so much the church has made stuff a sin. And here's the justification. The justification is if you thought about it, you're guilty of it. So if you're thinking about a woman masturbating, then you are guilty of the sin of fornication because you thought about it. So let's take that thought. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Have you ever thought about slapping somebody?
Yep.
Did you go turn yourself into the sheriff's department, to the police officer, and say, look, I thought about slapping this person, so in my mind I slapped them, so I'm guilty, lock me up? No, we don't do that. So what I'm saying is, how God created us. Listen, you didn't create yourself to think the way that you think, to desire a woman. You didn't have nothing to do with that. And I like to use the example, even though it's nature. You look at a 5-year-old boy when he wake up in the morning, He coming downstairs to watch cartoons and he got an erection and he don't even know why. He think he got to pee again. He going back and forth to the bathroom because that's the way God created us. Something is wrong with you if you tell me you're a grown man and you never think about being with a woman. So I don't trust you, man. I don't trust you. Something wrong with you. And so I think if you choose I think that's a personal decision. If you feel convicted and you feel like you're going to hell behind that, then don't do it. But if you feel like because on one hand, if you masturbate, now you're going to hell because you thought about it, so you sinned, you did it. If you have sex outside of marriage, you're going to hell because now you're fornicating. If I'm married because it's better to marry than to burn, and then I found out that I married the wrong person because I wanted to have sex, now I'm frustrated, I'm mad, I got to go to court, I got to get a lawyer, I got to start over. So where do we win? So I figure if you do what you feel you need to do to keep you straight, if you can masturbate and it stop you from sleeping with somebody you want to marry, fine. If you want to masturbate to stop you from sleeping with 5, 10 different women, fine. If you want to masturbate just to keep yourself sane so that you're not, because a lot of times, that pressure builds up and you start agreeing to stuff and the stuff starts sounding good because you all messed up in the head. So, what they call it, you're thinking with the wrong head. And so I think it's a personal decision.
Mm-hmm. Curtis, you're kind of quiet there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that, Bishop, I think that we go back to your original statement, which is about discipline. And I think a couple of sessions ago, Doc, we had someone that was saying that the sexual desire is not demonic; it just needs to be disciplined. And this is where I think that CJ was honest with himself, and I think that that's all we need to do as men and as human beings. Really, just be honest with your sexual appetite. And the more honest you are, the more you are able to discipline yourself. And if it is that whatever you need to discipline your desires, then you need to do it. But you can't do that if you're not honest with it. If you are, one thing I agree with the bishop is saying that we have demonized a whole lot of things which God didn't say was demonic. And we really have anything closely related to sexual desire. We have put that in a box and we have put a cross on it and say, do not touch, don't go into there. However, if we are honest with ourselves, we know that it is God-given. And the more honest we are, the more we are able to discipline ourselves. And so a pastor of mine always said that, we say that the flesh is weak. However, the flesh isn't always weak. There are some times that we are able to resist very easily, but the flesh gets weak. And you need to know, okay, you know what, at 2 o'clock in the morning, perhaps this is not my strongest time. I get a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's do it over the phone. Let's not meet in person, because at this point in time, my flesh battery running on 5%. So we're going to end up in trouble because my flesh is very weak. And so if we are honest and we can discipline ourselves, we can do exactly what God expects us to do.
I really, really appreciate that, because as Richard was talking and making the comparisons with the different sins that is associated, because if you masturbate and it's a sin, you go to hell, and you go with a woman and it's a sin, you go to hell. Maybe it's my brain, the way that I think. I'm just figuring, why not go with a woman? And either way, you're going to go to hell, right? So if those two are equal, why not just do it? The thing about this is it's a preference, and a lot of times we can say driving a car can lead to an accident. Flying on a plane, it can crash. We can say anything that is done in excess. A lot of people are looking at those sins. One of the sins that they don't talk about is gluttony. We have some of the most obese pastors and preachers and singers that, they can't even stand up to preach. And I'm not trying to be mean, but they can't even stand up to preach anymore. And not seeing that is not healthy. That's not, it's not, it's not of God. The gym is like, I'm not even the gym, just walking, just basic things to make sure that you handle and manage that. And that is a lack of discipline as well. So I appreciate, but CJ, I appreciate and applaud your candidness, and that you tell your girl, okay, give me a few minutes, let me handle stuff. I'm getting the wrap up cue from the team. So what we're gonna do now is get final words from each of you. This has been really, really amazing, and we want to see if we can get some final words from you. We're gonna start in Trinidad and Tobago. Joel, give us your final words.
Wow, well, today was just really, really, really awesome. Spending time with you and the guys. Information is always on point. I always learn every time I've met with you guys. I've learned, and I think we're gonna put some things into practice. Yeah, guys, it was great being here, and keep pressing on.
Yeah, and we're in there with you too. One of the things that I would love to see is that you connect with some of these guys when you're in a place where things, you're not feeling good, and you have Curtis right there in Trinidad. And right now I say the world is flat, because all you need to do is just reach out to one of these guys and encourage each other. That's something that we have as women. You can always find another woman with a listening ear. And I'm not talking about going into a group and talking about how great you are. There should be a place where you can say, you know what, this is a tough day for you. All right. We really appreciate you, and we're looking forward to being here again with you next year. For sure. All right. Of course. Blessings to you. Bye-bye.
Blessings. Bye.
All right, Richard, give us some final words.
Final words. First off, thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed the fellas. I want to encourage everyone, every man, to be the best you that you can be. Don't get, don't beat yourself up if you make some mistakes. Get back up and try it again. It's not the end of the world. And just, I really want you to be the best you that you can be for that woman before you get married. Work on you being the best you that you can be.
That's good. So, Richard, I said Richard, not Bishop. If somebody's looking at you and they, like the beard and they like the glasses and everything, and they want to, introduce themselves, would you be open to that, or you would prefer?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. I received that. Okay, because you're working on yourself. All right, so ladies, stay away. Maybe next year, God willing, he would be in that place. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Bishop. As always, I wanted to make sure that we got you in here this year because we love what you bring to the conversation. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, let's try again. Give us final words. You were going in and out a little bit, but we want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah. Listen, it can be done. It's not simple. It's not an easy task, but it can be done. You got to put your mind, your body, your soul into it, and just really be honest with yourself. What are the things that tempt me? What are the boundaries that I have to establish for myself, and then establish with other people that I stay within those bounds. And once again, like, hurt people, but healed people heal people. So the more that you heal, the more healed people that you will be that you'll attract. And like, I ended up having, thank the Lord, someone that was healed herself, and now we're able to be unified in this 56 days. So till next time, stay locked.
Yeah, 56 days. We're rooting for you, and please, give our love to your fiance. We're really, really proud of you, and we'll try to remember. I'm not even gonna say we're gonna try to remember to hold you up to the 56. Tomorrow it's gonna be 55. Blessings on you. This has been such a great time talking to these mighty men of God, and I love getting into the man cave and getting the level of transparency and honesty and vulnerability that we get in this place. We talked a little bit about dealing with sex and dealing with relationships, and the one thing I want to leave us with is not to just marry, not to burn, because I don't believe that that's what God meant, that if you feel like a little bit horny, that you just find anybody and just get married to, because marriages are not lasting. And when we fail in marriages, it's not a good look for the church, for the body of Christ. I'm not beating up on us, all of us who have gone through this, but if we can avoid it, let's do that. This has been an amazing show, talking to these men. I love this. I wish I had the energy to do this, more often. But this has been really great. Remember to share this video, share it with your group. Let this be the basis of conversation. Share it to your youth group, share it in your churches, so that you can have these discussions. Let it just be the foundation, the starting point of the discussion. Don't just leave it here. We have quite a lot of episodes on YouTube, so you want to go there and get something and begin a conversation, not just in the churches, but maybe you want to have this conversation with your spouse. Find one that you like, use it, and let this time that we spend with you be purposeful. We thank you and we love you. Until next time.